carry the gear you know how to use that fits the environment you're going to. That's on you to do the research, to know where you're going, what you're going to need, but you need to know how to use it. This video is covering gear that you can carry for different hostile environments, whether you're out into the wild environment in the mountains or you're in a hostile environment with other human beings. So let me go through the hostile environment you would carry some of this gear and why I put it together for going into the mountain regions or out hiking, whatever you want to do. Now, this belt here is a web belt. It's set up with at least a 10-inch knife here that I have. I choose this type of knife right here because it has a good cutting edge in it. When I'm using the knife, I want the working edge, which is here, to do the work for me. I don't have time to get into that, but that's why I choose that. On this belt, okay, is a survival pouch. It's wasted space. Do not waste space. Put something in there. This knife here is designed for when I want to do fine work. It's thin, it's small, it's got a small thin blade, and I can do a lot of small work with it. It fits well in the hand. I can get in and work with it. That's why it's on here. A holster can fit on here. This is for ammunition. Either one of these survival pouches can also go on there. If you notice on the survival pouches, there are lights on there. Those are emergency signal lights. You need to be able to mark yourself. You need these on your gear. They're on my vest. They'll be on my rucksacks. There's one thing I'm going to pull out of here that I want to show you that's extremely important. Now, in these things, you need to have stuff for all different occasions that you can. And Ultimate Survival Tools makes this. This is a phenomenal tool. I can use my recharger for it that does off the sunlight, but this will start fires. I'm going to turn this on a minute. You'll see the electrical charge go across there. This will ignite all kinds of things that I can do with a match, but I can keep recharging it. When you have put your survival gear together, you need to have at least 3 types of instruments to start a fire. Just to start a fire, okay? This one I highly recommend. You need to test and play with it to make sure it works before you put it in your gear. You have to have lights. There's 2 different types of lights in both of these little pouches right here. One goes on my head, and one is like this nano light. If you guys can look over here, this small little nano light, that's like 10 looms, this little small light, okay? That's in these. So if I need to have my hands free, that's what the small headlamps, and they're little small headlamps. If I don't, then I have little small lights like that. You need at least 2 means of light. Light is your friend, okay? Now, let's go into this holster. This is a friend of mine that hunts. This is a cross draw holster. And he has it, and it's got a snap to keep the weapon in. This is what he puts his ammo in. The survival pouches can go on it. Because he hunts, this carries spare bullets, and there's his skinning knife. He's not wasting space, all right? This is excellent. I love leather. I grew up as a cowboy. One of the things that leather does is, you can see these things for putting ammunition is, if you keep your bullets in too long, they will corrode them. That's a disadvantage with leather. Other than that, I love leather. These don't do that. You have different pouches you can put your ammunition in where they won't corrode. Over here is another design. This is for a 22. On the holster, you see another small knife. This space, why waste it? Small knife that goes in here. Now, I can do a lot of work with this, but not only do I have my weapon, but I have my knife right there with my weapon. Same thing. These can go on, the survival pouches can go on, ammunition pouches can go on this. You can set up different knives. This type of knife can go on there right here, all right? Configurations is what you want to do. You fit it to your need, okay? That's the only limitation you have, is what do you need it for, what do you know, and how do you know how to use it. If you don't want to carry a day pack or a larger pack, this is the vest done by True Specs. I had carry pouches sewn on the back of it. This has gear in it. This has everything. It has my medical gear, all kinds of survival gear up with it. But in front, you see I have my lights, and you see I have my signal stuff. You have to have that. If you need to mark your gear and set it down and come back to it later, or mark yourself when you're injured so you don't get run over by the road, which has happened when I was a fireman. A lady was killed after surviving the accident. Put your emergency light on you. That's why it's on your gear. Mark yourself. Now, a day pack. It has all kinds of different pouches and different stuff you can do. It can put more survival gear into it, more medical gear into it. It's not that big. It's one strap. One of the advantages is you can put it around behind you, in front of you. You can disconnect it and drop it real quickly. Okay, so that's another version you can use. For hunting, when I'm going to be gone out for a while, this is my larger pack. These are signal things just like my light. These flash red. You see my signal light that's here. You see the carabiners, 2 carabiners, and this rope is 35 feet long. So I can set up and do a Swiss seat, tie stuff down with it. So I always carry that on there. This is a hatchet. And on here is a small tool that you use for a trowel. And I can dig trenches, do all kinds of stuff with this small little tool right here. There are binos, small binos in here. One of the things this hatchet has in the bottom of it is a saw. A ton of stuff that you can do, but remember you got to carry it. So none of my stuff is over 30 pounds. But this has more extensive medical gear in it. But I cut my weight off at 30 pounds. I'm 66 years old. I'm not going to start humping all that weight anymore. Now, hostile environment deals with people. I have 2 things I want to show you that I set up, and this is how I would carry my gear. This is the vest here. I had this vest design, I had it built. You can see right here that shotgun I talked for home defense, it fits right there, okay? It hangs off of it right there. So there's where that goes. This is Safariland gear is all that I use. This holster or holsters just like it come off this and can go right on here. So I can either have two different guns or take that one off my belt when I'm in a vehicle and set it in here, and I'm wearing this vest. Now I can get to my pistol. This is where I carry spare shotgun ammo. This is a cleaning tool for my weapons. You can see that I have carbine cartridges here. These are pistol. And then you see a fighting knife. All weapons run out of ammo. They can jam, they can break. But knives are your plan B. You have to have some type of tool that you can use other than your hands to defend yourself, whether it's against a bear attack or another human being. So this is the belt that I would wear onto it. Now, because this is going to carry like my double-aught buckshot that I'd have here, but if I needed slugs, this is a container that carries 2 slugs on it. This is my one of my backup fighting knives, okay? They're double-edged, so I can draw it either direction and I'm going to cut with it. You have to have something when your weapons go down other than your hands. Safariland holster, it disconnects, can go on to this right here. These are magazine holders for the pistol. This is where my 1000 lume light goes right here. This is a spare magazine for my AR. So this system, I can work any of my weapon systems off it. My pistol, my shotgun, my carbine, all that's right here. All that is right here. This is set up for a hostile environment against other human beings. This is set up for being out in the boondocks, whether you're hiking or hunting or just sightseeing somewhere where you're off the beaten trail. If you don't carry your gear with you, then how are you going to be able to use it? 5,000 years ago, people carried their gear with them that they needed to survive with. We're no different. It's 21st century. There just happens to be modern gear in these things to do that. Carry the gear you know how to use that fits the environment you're going to. That's on you to do the research, to know where you're going, what you're going to need, but you need to know how to use it. All right. If you have any comments, leave them below. I thank you very much for your time. This is Randy Rawhide Wurst.
If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter so you don't miss out on anything. If you like the shirt that we're wearing in the video, you can get it in our store.